Greetings everyone, I'm Mar, and once again this is my opinion. Premiering in April 2018, My Hero Academia Season 3 picks up right where Season 2 ended, with Class 1A excited for the summer. However, that doesn't mean they can rest on their laurels, as the teachers have a summer training camp ready for them. The camp is fun and insightful initially, but turns dark when the League of Villains attack. The attack is repelled, but Bakugo is captured, as the League plans to try and turn him. Deku and the others attempt to save him, which leads to a long-awaited battle. Following the battle, the teachers move the students into dorms for safety purposes before classes resume. They settle quickly, but there's no rest before the Provisional license exam begins. Like the previous seasons, 3 is well animated. Unlike Dragon Ball Super or Shippuden, I didn't notice too many moments that played weird or looked half-assed. Bones is quickly becoming one of my preferred animation studios from this show alone. Makes me want to check out Wolf's Rain and Fullmetal Alchemist. The music is excellent, which is sad considering I neglected to mention it last time. Composed by Yuki Hayashi, the score complements the series' blended tone and lifts the dramatic moments when needed. You Say Run is probably my favorite overall, but Yuki's score for 2 fights this season are worthy of consideration too. All 3 are great for Gymspiration. The opening themes by Overworld and Lenny Code Fiction are pretty good, while I prefer the former. It's currently battling Season 2's peace sign for favorite song from the series. It has one of the best opening animation moments with Deku and All Might standing together. The camp arc is an excellent way to kick off Season 3. It throws our heroes into a new situation without raising the stakes drastically initially. It also introduces new pro-heroes in the form of the Wild Wild Pussycats. As their name implies, the foursome have cat-themed costumes and quirks that complement each other. Dialogue allows for some comedic moments too. What makes this group is that one member is a muscular male, which you wouldn't expect given the group's name. He also wears the same style outfit, with slight modifications. Subverting expectations never looks so perfect. Camp brings about yet another Naruto comparison, a phrase I'm sure some of you are getting tired of hearing. Along with the counselors, a young boy named Kota Izumi attends, mainly there due to his cousin and guardian Shino, one of the Pussycats. Kota doesn't understand the pro-hero mentality, bordering on hatred. This mentality stems from the loss of his parents, who died defending a village from a villain. This puts him at respectful odds with Deku, who slowly learns Kota's backstory. Deku empathizes with Kota and muses over how to help. Mr. Full Cowl gets his chance when the League attacks. Call it happenstance or destiny, but Kota comes face to face with Muscular, the villain who killed his parents. Deku manages to save Kota after a prolonged, yet well-paced battle. This battle damages Deku, more on that later, but it also brings Kota out of his shell. He finally uses his water quirk, despite it having no effect, and later sends Deku a thank you letter. The letter still has some nihilism, but baby steps. I can see why the League of Villains would target Bakugo. Given his explosive temperament, he's 3 steps away from villainhood anyway. Despite this, Bakugo doesn't succumb, holding out while his classmates plan. While it is foolish of Class 1A to attempt a rescue, especially considering who shows up, given it's ultimately a success, I must give them credit. Even if it wasn't, the attempt alone keeps with Deku's character, especially when it comes to Bakugo. They might be at odds, but he's still an old frenemy. Outside the initial concept, I don't have much to say regarding the dorms. It furthers character interactions, allowing for new comedy and drama since our characters must now live together. Most of the Class 1A quirks are hereditary, so this allows the audience a chance to compare generations. We also learn Bakugo takes after his mother personality-wise. How his father puts up with them both is anyone's guess. Midoriya's mother gives the most heartfelt reaction, echoing the worries of mothers everywhere. Considering all Midoriya's been through, could you blame her? She can't sit by and watch him continue to hurt himself for his dream. She actually changes her mind as only he can, promising to make sure Midoriya isn't hurt further. While he was a mentor before, this is the moment he officially becomes Midoriya's father figure, which will make things interesting once Poppy debuts. The license arc is a double-header, serving as both a nice season closer and test for the hero's powers. It's not straightforward, as the heroes must face off against pro-heroes playing villains while also attempting to save citizens. Practical exercise at its finest. Of the main team, Todoroki is one of the few who doesn't pass, due to fellow student Inasa. Inasa has a grudge against Todoroki, feeling he is just like Endeavor. Why? Because Todoroki blew him off during the initial exam during Season 1. Retcon flashback reveal. While a thin motivation, it's believable due to presentation. Drama lingers between the two as the test continues, allowing for interesting team dynamics. Todoroki's failure gives him something to strive towards in Season 4. I know his relationship with Daddy improved somewhat in the manga, so perhaps this plays a role. It might also explain Endeavor's reaction in the second movie. The exam also introduces another school in the form of Ketsubutsu Academy. Unspoken before now, one can't expect a UA to teach every future hero. While it might be the #1 school in Japan, the world is a big place. Like Goblet of Fire, it's nice world building. It allows Class 1A to face another group, replacing class rivalry with school rivalry. Even though I graduated over a decade ago, I remember this feeling only too well. Blessed pep rally memories. My favorite Ketsu character must be Miss Joke, the class teacher. Why? Because she constantly pesters Eraserhead to marry her. Situational awareness be damned, even in the middle of a match. Eraserhead constantly turns her down, which adds to the humor. Silent ship ahoy! All Might's battle with All for One is the rescue arc's highlight. The villain who crippled the #1 hero, All has been biding his time in the shadows, hanging over everything like a guillotine blade. His design is simple, belying an elegance worthy of a main villain. Anyone can wear a suit, but only a villain would wear such a sinister mask. All for One easily dispatches several pro-heroes, displaying the danger one faces when combating the Fiend. All Might's quirk immunity gives him a slight edge, but not enough to steamroll his nemesis. Both hero and villain have handicaps. All for One is blind, a holdover from their previous battle, and All Might's power is slowly diminishing following the transfer. The latter impacts the fight as it drags on, lessening the damage All Might delivers. Suspenseful and well-paced, the climax is what one expects. This is a shonen story after all, but doesn't feel unsatisfying. All Might's inner monologue amplifies this point. While the conclusion would work without it, the monologue and complementing imagery complete it. The only issue I have with this fight is that it happens early in the season. While it's been built up and executed, it feels like a season ender. To use a wrestling metaphor, it's like the best match on the card happening at the beginning and everything that follows not reaching the same emotional crescendo. Not to say that the following arc is bad, but its conclusion doesn't have an equivalent high spot. In retrospect, this is the only downside to the first season being so short, but I'll take this arc's placement over a season overstaying its welcome. Thankfully, this is not the last time the two will interact, but it'll be their last direct battle. All future battles will be through protege proxies. All Might's power loss has far-reaching consequences. The logical first is the surge in crime. No longer able to combat crime, the criminals no longer fear All Might. Emboldened, they strike out, making more work for the remaining pro-heroes. A pain, but nothing they can't handle in the long run. Endeavor's promotion to #1 hero is a close second. While powerful, Endeavor's power is nothing against public relations. Endeavor helps others, but he isn't personable, coming across as brash and egocentric. If not for his actions, one might confuse him for a villain. This anti-PR front makes it hard to market Endeavor to the masses like All Might was, adding to the post-loss fear. To make a wrestling comparison, it'd be like replacing Hulk Hogan with Lex Luger. They both might be on the same side, but one isn't comfortable being around the masses. Midoriya's struggle to master One for All continues. While Full Cowl was a step in the right direction, Midoriya's battle with Muscular pushes him to his current limit. With no other option, Midoriya goes beyond, straining and damaging his body further to win the fight. Midoriya is now at a crossroads. If his arms are damaged further, they'll be unusable and he'll have to retire from hero work. Young Midoriya asks All Might for advice, and the Smiler hits upon the problem. Midoriya is trying too hard to emulate him. While they are close and share a mentor-student bond, Midoriya must stop emulating and find his own way to use one for all. Only then will the power truly be his. All Might is built like a powerhouse and built his style around his massive physique. Deku must do the same for his leaner frame. Deku muses on All Might's words, and a solution presents itself. Enter Shoot style. Modeled after soccer moves, Shoot focuses on Deku's speed and Quark-empowered kicks. New boots aid in protection, suiting his frame far better. While this doesn't mean he can't throw the occasional punch, they are now regulated to sidearm. Deku demonstrates Shoot style during the Provisional license arc. If it does that well in a controlled setting, I can't wait to see how it fares on the street in Season 4. 20% Shoot should be an interesting sight. Built up from the show's first episode, Deku and Bakugo finally have a proper fight. Occurring during the season's latter half, it puts Deku's full cowl versus Bakugo's explosiveness. This battle was inevitable. While tempered by all that has transpired since Season 1, Bakugo is still angry at Deku, amplified by self-effacement following his kidnapping. The battle is tense and well choreographed, filled with explosions and shoot sparks. Bakugo pulls out ahead, typical shonen. Can't have the protagonist win this early, pal. It works thematically. Deku's full cowl has room for improvement, which it does slightly before season's end, while Bakugo is not as hot-headed. Victory in hand, Bakugo sees he need not be self-conscious regarding his power when compared to Deku's. He also believes Deku's quasi-confession from an earlier arc. The two come to an understanding, forged by their battle. Not best friends, but still comrades. The follow-up is amusing, as the pair must clean the entire Class 1A dorm. Just because All Might let the battle happen doesn't mean there's no consequences. Clean with a smile. Midoriya and Ochako's romantic hints continue. Like Season 2, the hints are playful, but not as adorable as, "I talked on the phone with a girl!" The shipping crosses a new threshold, as Ochako finally admits she likes Deku. The admission is to herself, and she decides to bury the feelings for now. But one step in the right direction at a time. At the risk of another Naruto comparison, I wonder if it'll take until My Hero ends for the ship to become official. If so, hopefully it's resolved in the manga proper, and not a side story. Either way, Deku's reaction is sure to be legendary. Speaking of shipping, let's discuss Toga. My first impression was she was a vampiric Harley Quinn. One season later, that is still my opinion, with additions. Toga's bubbly personality remains as she battles heroes, delighting in knife work. This personality fades away once the tables turn against her, pouting like a petulant child. Toga uses the knife to draw and drink blood for her quirk, Transform. Once ingested, Toga transforms into a copy of the individual, down to the voice. While Toga gains temporary use of her target's quirk, her usage is limited by personal knowledge. Toga also doesn't gain access to her victim's memories. Can't make this ability too broken. Toga develops an obsession with Deku from the moment she sees him. A mad love, one might say. During the license arc, Toga uses her quirk to get closer to Deku, mainly to find out more about him. While the story plays this as a surprise, I had my suspicions from the get-go. Who else would get naked by Deku at this point? Okay, maybe Midnight, but who else? Dabi makes his presence felt during the camp arc, his cremation quirk aiding the League immensely. Considering he's not the first fire user in the series, I appreciate that his flames are a different color. It sets Dabi apart aesthetically while subtly implying his flames burn hotter than Endeavor and Todoroki. Potential future showdown, Heroes Rising notwithstanding. Like Season 2, there is only one major filler episode. Plotted in the season's latter half, it focuses on All Might's early years. It interrupted the flow of the arc, so I skipped it initially. I'm mixed on the episode. While learning more about All Might's early hero work is nice, its placement hurts the arc's pacing. It's more Shippuden filler than intern filler. My Hero Academia Season 3 is well made. The animation and music are excellent, the story intense and engaging, and the end note once again leaves one wanting more. Still early to call, but My Hero might be supplanting Naruto as my favorite anime. There's a goal to strive for, plus ultra! Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and also leave a comment down below. And if you want to support the channel, I do have a Patreon. The link for that will be in the description box. Thank you all for watching, and long days and pleasant nights.